Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. And today we're gonna look at my final review and statistics of the Earth palette by Odin's Eye. I've been able to completely use it up today. This was my last look using this palette and other palettes as well. So I will share with you all the statistics, everything that went on, how quickly I've hit pan on these, how long it took me, all the numbers, and how it kind of went for me with this Earth palette. So hopefully you will enjoy that. Today, from the Earth palette, I've used the last two shades, which is Past and Nostalgia, these two um, matte shades. I also have from the Merry Christmas palette by Odin's Eye. I've used for the last time the shade New Year because I just wanted to use it up. And then I also have the Evergreen Cosmetics Witch of the Wildflower, and I've used the shade Ironweed to blend out the shades. I have Dandelion Tea in the inner corner, and then the shade Floriography, the golden part of the palette because it's a split pan, on the beginning part of the lid, and then also on the lower lash line. Oh, and I've also used a bit of the shade from the Merry Christmas palette from the shade Jingle Bell on the lid as well. So that's kind of all that I'm wearing today, and I created this look. It's not the best look. I mean, maybe it looks nice on the camera, but it's not the best look. I've had some difficulties, which I will tell you in a bit about, but hopefully you will enjoy this video. I'm trying not to make this too long. In case you're new here, hi, my name's Sasha. I love indie makeup, I love colorful makeup, especially eyeshadows. I love panning, I love everything about that, so hopefully you will enjoy that. Also, let me know how you like this hair color. I've had this is my second day of having this color. It's the, because I feel like there's gonna be a couple of people asking, it's the Arctic Fox, and it's called Emerald Fortune. It's the semi-permanent hair color, and I mean, it looks stunning. And I did like a blowout, which I'm not good at, but I've tried my best. So hopefully you will enjoy this video. Let me know how it went, and now let's get into the overhead shot. Hi, so today I'm gonna kind of give you all the stats for the Earth palette from Odin's. This is the mini eyeshadow palette from the Norns collection, if I remember that correctly. I've had this one for quite a while. I got it 2 years ago from a friend. So yeah, it has been in my collection for a little bit over 2 years. I think it was like October 2022. And I've loved this one a lot. It's been a wonderful palette. I think it was the best palette from these mini palettes that I've ever created. And today was my last day of using this palette because I decided that it no longer serves and functions in my collection. As you can see, there's like a little bit of product left, but what happened today when I was using it, I've noticed that the shades are really kind of waxy. They don't want to stick nicely to the eyes. They blend really horribly, and they just don't look nice. And I've been noticing that for the past couple times that I've used this palette. It's been getting worse and worse, and I think it's because it's the product that is stuck to the borders, because I've had similar thing happening to me with the, I think it was the mini forest that I've had before that I've used up as well. I will link that in the card. It was last year, I think. It was my last year's project pan. But what I've noticed, especially with these mini palettes from Odin's Eye, once you get to the pan and like you only have the little borders, either it gets super dusty and like everything will just kind of flow off, or it gets kind of waxy and really weird, and it doesn't really have the same pigment than it used to have. So I don't know if it's just because it's old or because it is the way that it's pressed and like the product that is at the bottom has worse quality. But yeah, that's just what I've noticed with this one. So this today marks my 60 uses of this palette. It took me 60 uses to use it up. And that's because this color story was perfect for a one and done looks. Like, it was all green palette. The only variation for me usually was the central shade, because it was a split pen. One part was kind of like a silvery blue and the other part was like a goldy white iridescent shade. So one time I would use that one, other time the other one. And that was kind of the only thing that kind of changed for me with using this palette. Otherwise I would usually use all of the shades, because you had a super light kind of pistachio green, then you had this nostalgia, which is like very kind of swampy green, then you had this dark aubergine color, then you had this kind of army green shimmer, and then the only change would be either I would use both of the central shades, the shade Time in the inner corner, because it was kind of like a white based with gold green sparkle, and then on the lid I would use the shade Golden Year, which was the kind of blue purple gray, or I would skip this shade, the blue purple gray, and I would use this light one in the first half of the lid, and then this shade Luxury on the other half. So that was kind of one of the varieties for me. Otherwise I would usually use the whole palette, and that's why it took that little amount of uses, because I would use it kind of proportionally, all the shades, and obviously some of them I would use up quicker because they were used on a larger area, or I would pile them up more because they were just like, I just really wanted to have them all over the lid and really pigmented, or stuff like that. Or obviously you use shimmers more than mattes, or like you use up more product in one use. So that's kind of the differences. But when it comes to hitting pan on these shades, first was the shade Time, which was the white goldy shade, because I used it as inner corner all the time and sometimes on the lid as well. So obviously that being a shimmer shade and my most used shade, it was pretty easy. So that happened after 14 uses, and I was using this palette for 21st time. Then the shade Memory, which is this pistachio green. It took me 25 uses to hit pan, and it happened when I was using this palette 35 times. The same day I've also hit pan on the shade Nostalgia. It took me 21 uses to hit pan on this one, because this one is my like main crease shade, so I would use it on the largest part of the eye. Then after 36 uses of this whole palette, I've hit pan on the shade Luxury, this dark one, this dark shimmer, and it took me 24 uses. Then, when I was using this palette 40 times, I've hit pan on the shade Golden Year. It took me 8 uses, and that was because sometimes I would mix them both, and sometimes once I've hit pan on this shade, hitting pan on the other part of the pan was really easy, because like it would kind of crumble and I would lose a lot of the shade, just because there isn't any like ridge in between those two, so it doesn't, like, there's nothing to hold the shades. And like if you have pan here and pan here, the wall will eventually crumble, if that makes sense. Then after 43 uses, I've got rid of the shade Memory. It happened after 31 uses of this shade, and it was because some of it I would use as my nail polish. I created multiple nail polishes from my Project Pan eyeshadows. I will link that video down below if you want to, and in the little card. But because there was just like a little bit in the around the borders, and it was kind of very dusty, and it didn't have much pigment anymore. It was like really light shade to begin with, but it kind of lost its pigment over the time. I decided after 31 uses to scrape out the little bit that was there and make a nail polish out of that. Then after 45 uses of this palette, I've hit pan on the shade Past, and that took 35 uses. This one took the longest because it's the darkest shade and I use it on a smaller area. And when it comes to completely using up this the pans, so this one after 31 uses. The next one was the shade Golden Year, the silvery gray, uh, like blue purple, and that took 12 uses. It happened when I was using this palette for 51st time, again because a lot of it would crumble over the time. Then the shade Time right next to it, it took me 38 uses to use it up, and it happened when I was using this palette also for the 51st time. Then the shade Luxury, it took me 38 uses, and I was using this palette 55 times by then. And then today, on the 60th use, I decided to scrap, I decided to call it quits with the shade Nostalgia and Past. Nostalgia I used 40 times, and Past I've used 50 times so far. And yeah, it's pretty waxy, it's hard to use, it's only in the little borders, and it's just really hard right now, and it doesn't look good anymore, so I'm just gonna call it quits. It's not a good look anymore, and I'm just not enjoying it anymore. So yeah, I think this was successful. I will clean this whole palette up, and I will repress my Christmas palettes from Udden's Eye because these ones are also in my project pan and there's very little product left, so I will repress it into this palette to have it in like a smaller packaging because I don't want to carry the two Christmas palettes. This one is a lot nicer to carry and a lot more durable, and it also has a mirror, so like it's perfect for traveling. So every time I will go somewhere, I can just take this and use up the Christmas palettes from Odin's Eye. But yeah, this one is completely used up. Let me know if you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you let me know if you've used up any palette this year and how it went for you. I'm very happy that I've put this one in my project pan, and I'm very happy that I finished this project pan. It was pretty hard in the past like month that I've been really focusing on this one because I've really noticed how much the formula decayed, and it was worse and worse every single time. And because I've used it like I don't know 10 times in the past month, I could really easily see how it's getting worse and worse and worse with the quality. So that's a really shame, and I wish it didn't happen. But also, it's old palette. When I got it 2 years ago, it was already opened, and the friend that gave it to me was already using that. Not many times, maybe like 5 times, but it was already like older at that time. I think this came out 2020, if I remember that correctly. So yeah, it's a 4-year-old palette, and you can tell it's the formula isn't great anymore. Maybe it's the fact that it's the bottom of the pan, maybe it's the fact that it's really old, or it's both of these factors. But yeah, I will call this one quits and be done with it. So definitely let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know if you enjoyed these. I know they don't get much views, but I know a couple of people who are really into this, and I love panning products. It makes me very happy if I am able to do something like this, and I love watching videos like that. So for me, it's a video that I like to film and I like to watch. I know it doesn't get the biggest traction though, so let me know if you want me to continue with these projects and making these focused videos every single time I use something up. I will link down the entire playlist. We've already used up I think it's called Mini Forest from Wooden's Eye. Then there was also the Natasha Denona Mini Nude or Neutral or something. There was the Naked Cherry by Urban Decay. And what else? I think we've used another palette, but I can't remember. it's really foggy right now. But yeah, I will link all of those down below in case you want to see that and in case you want to kind of compare the statistics, because obviously every brand has different formula. This, by the way, what I forgot to mention, this palette has 6 grams of product. There is 6 shades, but the central shade was kind of split. But yeah, 6 shades, 6 grams. It took me 60 uses to use this palette up. So for one use, you're gonna need 0.1 gram of product if you're gonna use every single shade. And let me try to find how much this cost. I've had the Verdandi palette as well, but I gave that to somebody else. So this costs $20.90. And if we divide it by 6 grams, we're gonna get 3.48. So 1 gram of product costs $3.48. And one use, 20.9 divided by 60 uses is $0.35 of one use. So in one use, you're gonna need 0.1 gram of product, and it's gonna cost you $0.35 for an eyeshadow look, which I don't think is that bad. And also, one statistic that I forgot to mention, in total, if I count the amount of uses in each shade, it's 209 uses. So if we would divide $20.90 by 209 uses in total, then one use of one shade costs 1 cent. It's a really nice number, by the way. And if we divide the total amount of uses in each shade by the number 60, which is the total amount of looks, you will get that on average I would use 3.48 shades per look. So yeah, 3.5 shades every single time I would create a look with this palette. I think those are all the statistics. Oh, when it comes to hitting pan, approximately it takes, let me see. Approximately I would hit a pan after 21 uses. If you divide 127, which is how much it took in all of the shades to hit pan, divided by 6 shades, you get 21.16. And the only shade that I've hit pan after 21 uses is the shade Nostalgia, which makes sense because this one is kind of like the average shade. It's matte and it's my crease shade, so I use it I use more of it than like the darker shades because, you know, it's a larger area. But I don't pile it on as much as the shade Memory, for example. So, or the shimmer shades. So I think that's a really cool statistics. And yeah, I think that's everything. I don't know if I've mentioned any other numbers in my previous reviews, but I think this is enough for you. I love that one use is 1 cent. That's just like really cool and really fun. But yeah, those are all the numbers. If you'll check out my other reviews, you will notice that it varies with other brands. So I think the Natasha Denona, the numbers were very different from this, from what I remember. I don't remember the mini forest, but I'll definitely link that down below because I would love to see the difference in those two. But I don't have the statistics next to me right now. But you can watch the video and check it out if you want to. So, have a wonderful day, Merry Christmas, and I'll be super happy to see you tomorrow with another review. Bye!